Hello and welcome. So today, guys, I am super excited because I have for you today 5 fragrances. They are all 2024 recent launches, and these are fragrances that I did blind buy. And today I'm going to share with you my thoughts on these fragrances. Now, although these fragrances were all blind buys, these are fragrances that I did do quite a bit of research, and a couple of them were fragrances that I just knew I wanted to add to my collection because I have other flankers or because of the line that they are a part of. So I'm going to go ahead and give you my opinion today for each fragrance. In addition to giving you a review, I'm also going to let you know if I think that this is a must, a maybe, or a miss. But before we jump right in, if this is your first time here, I'm Arahi, and I'm your fragrance concierge because I'm totally committed to creating the best fragrance experience for you. I upload videos multiple times a week, and in those videos, I always discuss fragrances, whether they're Middle Eastern or designer or Western niche or affordable, or sometimes even scented body products. Now, if that sounds like the type of content that you're interested in and like a good plan, then please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget, leave a comment. Let's go. So something that I wanted to share with you guys before we jump into the first fragrance is that please be sure to always check the community tab of the channel because, of course, we are approaching the holidays and there will be a lot of good deals out there. And of course, because I review fragrances, I'm always looking for the best deals from reputable retailers. So when I find a good deal, I will definitely leave it for you in the community section. And I will also leave a link to where you can pick up the fragrance if you're interested or whenever you're ready. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and jump in. And the first fragrance is from Guerlain, and this is Shalimar Millesime Jasmin. Oh my goodness, guys. Now, this is a fragrance, as I said in the opening, that was launched in 2024. And I do have, I think, a couple of other flankers from the Shalimar collection. And I really wasn't planning to pick up the Jasmine, but the more I kept reading the notes, the more I thought, you know what, that sounds really interesting. And guys, I am so glad that I picked up this fragrance because when I tell you, it is absolutely glorious. So as to be expected, this fragrance is quite vanillic. Like the vanilla here is just, oh my goodness, perfection, absolute perfection. There's also quite a bit of white florals. And yes, truly, the jasmine is the star of those florals. But the fragrance also has like a citrus quality to it. And it balances very well with that very dominant vanilla and the jasmine. The fragrance is a bit sweet and it's also a tad green, which really surprised me because that note or that touch of greenness really does add like a crisp quality to the fragrance, so it doesn't allow the jasmine to become very overwhelming in combination with the vanilla. But all in all, at the dry down, guys, you're going to get the most beautiful dominant jasmine scent with a very strong backdrop of a vanilla, and that dry down is going to be quite powdery. Not excessively powdery, but it is a powdery dry down, so you do have to enjoy a powdery fragrance. I have to tell you, I absolutely love this fragrance. And this is a fragrance that if you're not careful could be quite addictive too. Anyway, I give this fragrance a 9.5 out of 10. So the next 2 fragrances that I'm going to share with you are all from the same fragrance house. And this fragrance house has launched so many fragrances recently. I haven't picked up all of them, but I did pick up Carmina and I did pick up Queen of Silk. So I figure let me just continue on. And this time I picked up Centaurus and I also picked up Delphinus. Now to me, these 2 are quite a solid launch from Creed. Not everybody may agree with that, but I have to tell you, I'm not only impressed, but this is a very solid launch. And I also have to tell you, I'm going to start with Centaurus in a minute, but I also have to tell you that I just feel that in the past couple of years, Creed has taken like a different direction in their DNA, and I am here for it because I think I haven't had a chance to bring Queen of Silk to the channel because there's been so many launches one after the other and so fast. But Queen of Silk is an incredible fragrance, guys, that I absolutely enjoy. But let's go ahead and talk about Centaurus. Now, Centaurus is a lovely, lovely fragrance. And I have to tell you that of the two, contrary to what I've observed from other fellow content creators, this one is my favorite of the two. Even though the two, as I said before, to me, they're solid, solid releases. And I am so happy that I picked them up and that I picked them up in the 100 ml. But Centaurus is a fragrance that opens up extremely warm, spicy. So you have to really enjoy a spicy fragrance. This fragrance to me, I have to tell you guys, is truly unisex. I've seen a couple of reviewers say that they feel that it leans a tad to the masculine side. No, I really believe that this is truly a unisex fragrance. This fragrance, as I said, opens up quite spicy, and the spiciness brings warmth to the fragrance. It is also a very, very ambery fragrance that has a good bit of vanilla. Is the vanilla one of the dominant notes? Not throughout the entire olfactory journey. In the opening, I do get a strong vanilla, and at the dry down, you're definitely going to get vanilla, but the vanilla in a certain part of the olfactory journey does take a backseat, but without taking away from the beauty of this fragrance. And at that, can I say that this is just a beautiful fragrance? No. To me, this is a fragrance that was designed to provide you with a lot of oomph and character. It is a very, very powerful, like a confident and bold type of fragrance. The notes of cinnamon and tobacco also play a key role in the olfactory journey of this fragrance. And I dare say that in that, at least to my nose, in that warm, spicy opening, what I get primarily is the note of cinnamon. The fragrance also does have a bit of a powdery dry down. On my skin, the dry down is not very powdery, but it is definitely a powdery dry down. In addition to that, there's a presence of tobacco and a woodiness in the backdrop of the tobacco that I pick up on starting midway through the olfactory journey, all the way to dry down and throughout the wear of the fragrance. Both Centaurus and Delphinus, at least on my skin, do perform very, very well. They give me a solid full day wear, so it's 8+ hours. They're not beast mode fragrances on my skin, but they're definitely fragrances that do give me 8+ hours, and they do have a strong projection during the first, I would say, hour and a half. Centaurus more around the 2-hour mark, and then you do get a moderate sillage. I get more of a trail sillage effect with Centaurus than I get with Delphinus, because Delphinus, which we're going to talk about in a minute, is a bit smoother in my opinion. All in all, guys, I am loving Centaurus, and I am loving, loving, loving the direction that Creed is taking with their fragrances, because this is very different than any of my other Creed fragrances, and I am absolutely here for it. This is a fragrance that, again, you have to be into a solid, unisex, bold, confident, statement-making kind of fragrance to really enjoy this one, especially if you're a female. But all in all, I am loving this fragrance, and I give it a 9 out of 10. So Delphinus is the next one that we're going to talk about. And so you know, this one is for my iris lovers. Delphinus is an absolutely gorgeous fragrance, guys. And I've never seen Creed do vanilla the way that they've done it in this fragrance, because the note of vanilla, in my opinion, is the star of this fragrance. And that vanilla brings a warmth and like a creaminess, at least to my nose, to the fragrance that is just absolutely beautiful and is very comforting. So in my opinion, while Centaurus was all about being bold and making a statement, Delphinus is more, not a demure fragrance, but it is more of a reserved kind of fragrance. It's a beautiful fragrance, but it's designed to be more comforting. less of an edgy fragrance than Centaurus. So for me, both fragrances, they each play a role in the fragrances that you're picking up from Creed for 2024. So when it comes to Delphinus, at least to my nose, it opens up with quite a bit of vanilla because again, the vanilla is the star of this fragrance. I have to say that second to that vanilla, I would definitely say that there's two notes that are the stars also. And that would be the note of almond and the note of iris. Because to my nose, those three notes control the scene at all times. But at that, I will tell you that this is a very, very well blended fragrance. So if you're concerned about just getting those three notes and it being kind of linear, oh no, 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 no. This Creed fragrance is truly exceptional. It also has like a nutty quality to it. And I know it's courtesy of the note, of course, like I said, of the almond, but the nuttiness is not overpowering and it's so well balanced that it almost comes across as smooth. It is a fragrance that is sweet and it does have floral touches. But to my nose, the focus is not necessarily on the florals. The focus is on the iris, the vanilla, and the almond. What I find very, very curious also with this fragrance is that it does have a touch of leather, but the leather, you almost can't pick up the note of leather. It is so smooth, so beautifully blended. As I said before, the blend of this fragrance is just truly exceptional. The iris does bring to it a bit of powderiness as to be expected, but in the end, guys, you are going to get the most beautiful vanilla-centric iris and almond sweet powdery dry down. This is a fragrance that performs a bit less aggressive than, let's call it aggressive, than as I mentioned with Centaurus. So with Centaurus, while I get like a 2-hour strong projection, with this one I get more of like an hour and a half, but then it becomes a scent bubble and that scent bubble goes on for several hours. In the end, you are going to land on a skin scent, which you're going to be able to smell on yourself, and those who come very near you, they will also be able to smell it. So the performance on Delphinus, at least on my skin, is a bit less powerful, to call it something, than Centaurus. And honestly, I did expect that because this is a smoother, more comforting kind of fragrance. When it comes to occasions, I would say that both of these fragrances can be used for any occasion, but let's talk about Centaurus first, because when it comes to this fragrance, this is not one that I would pull to go to the gym or to go to yoga or for an informal occasion. When you are having a special occasion or you're attending a special event and you want to smell, honestly guys, sexy, when you want to feel empowered and bold and boost your confidence, that is what Centaurus gives me. Again, this is not a demure fragrance, so if you do not want to be noticed, then do not wear this to an event. When it comes to Delphinus, this is a fragrance that I really believe you could even probably make it a signature scent, even though this is not one that I would wear to the office, not because of anything, but because I have a certain use for this type of fragrance. But I think that this is a fragrance that you can use for any occasion, day or night. When it comes to Delphinus, I also give it a 9 out of 10. So the next fragrance that I want to talk to you about is none other than Camomille Satin from Dries van Noten. Now guys, this is a fragrance that I have heard so many content creators that I really respect talk highly about this fragrance that I just knew I wanted to pick it up. And this is a fragrance that is truly a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. This is one of those fragrances that is non-offensive. It is one of those fragrances that is definitely going to pull attention. But at least for me, it's one of those fragrances that I pull for when I'm in a certain mood. And the mood is that of smooth, effortless elegance and beauty. It is just an exquisitely done, masterfully put together, elegant fragrance. This is a fragrance that is also vanilla-centric, but at that it also has a very strong herbal presence. To my nose, this fragrance not only features the note of chamomile, which of course is very dominant, but it also has a lavender that is very, very present throughout the entire olfactory journey, all the way from opening to dry down and throughout the wear of the fragrance. The lavender, at least to my nose, is always present, but I also pick up on some white florals. But again, the lavender is the star of the floral group. Even though the vanilla presence in this fragrance is quite dominant and strong all throughout the olfactory journey and the wear, this is definitely a musk-based fragrance. As to be expected with most Dries Van Noten fragrances, which I think this is like my 5th bottle, and I am considering picking up, I think it's called Camouflage Vanilla or something like that, and I've been a bit reserved about that one, and I think I'm going to get a sample first because it's supposed to be a tad green. Well, not a tad green. I've heard that it's a very green fragrance, and I do enjoy a green fragrance, but honestly, I'm just wondering, maybe I'll get a sample first and then pick it up. But this one, first of all, it was an exclusive to Selfridges, so I don't even think that I could get it anywhere else except their website. So, and honestly, with the note structure and everything that I heard about it, I just knew that I wanted to try it. So I did pick it up blindly. This is honestly a safe blind buy, in my opinion, if you do enjoy the notes that have been shared with us. And this is a fragrance that I think is perfect for any occasion, day or night. This is also a fragrance that will definitely get you compliments, but it's not a trailblazer as it comes to sillage, at least not on my skin. This is not one that leaves me not even, I would say, 2 feet, of a trail. This is a fragrance that when people come close to you, you do pull them in because it is just exquisite. It is so, so beautiful. And you are definitely going to get compliments if they're around you or with you. All in all, I think this fragrance is just perfection, and I am so, so happy that I picked it up because for a while I considered, I don't know, there's just so many new launches and you just never know. But I heard, again, so many other content creators talk about it in such a nice way, and just the whole note structure really pulled me in. And I'm very, very glad that I took the risk and went ahead and picked it up. Let us know if you've tried this fragrance. This is a fragrance that I absolutely love, and I do also give it a 9. No, let's make that a 9.5 out of 10. All right, guys, so the last fragrance that I have for you today is a fragrance that from the moment I heard that this was being launched, I knew that I was going to pick it up. I did not need to get myself a sample or a decant. I was just going to pick it up because this one has got to be one of my favorites from BDK. And I'm talking about Rouge Smoking, but this time it's the Extrait. Now, this is a fragrance, guys, that was launched maybe 3 weeks ago, and I saw it immediately on the Selfridges website because I think it may be an exclusive to Selfridges, at least till this moment. But all I know is that I picked it up immediately, and oh my goodness, do I have a lot to say. So Rouge Smoking is truly, I think, my favorite BDK fragrance, even though there's another one that is so close. I will be doing a BDK video very soon. And right now, I do not have a bottle in my collection because I'm supposed to order another one because I finished the last one. But I haven't come around to it because there's just been so many releases. And once I saw that this was coming out, I'm like, no, I'm just gonna go ahead and hold. Oh my goodness, guys. So let me just start by saying that this fragrance is not the same as the original Rouge Smoking. But at that, I am here for it. So the Extrait is all about the note of cherry. Guys, when I tell you that this cherry opens the fragrance, pulls you and takes you throughout the olfactory journey, and is with you at the dry down and throughout the entire wear of the fragrance. There's no letting go of this cherry. And this cherry is a very dark cherry. And when I say dark cherry, what I mean is that the cherry is very intense. It's not like a kind of cherry scent. No. You are going to know that this fragrance is all about the cherry. The fragrance is very sweet. It does have quite a bit of amber, so you are going to get that amber presence right along with that sweetness of the cherry. And then there's an almond note that is also very, very dominant. So with the cherry, you get that almond and you get that ambery quality. It is just beautiful. That is a very, very strong opening for this fragrance. Now, as if it weren't enough, another major difference from the original, guys, is that this fragrance has an oud that is truly present. But in addition to that oud, there's woodiness. Is a backdrop of woodiness. So once the oud appears, which to my nose, it appears shortly thereafter the opening, you start to get, at least in my nose, you start to get that oud presence and it intensifies. The oud in this fragrance, yeah, the oud in this fragrance is not even a level 3, right? So here on the channel, we say from 1 to 5, with 1 being the least that you can expect to find the presence of oud in a fragrance, and 5 being the most. I'm telling you that to my nose, this is a 2 because the oud is not the star of the fragrance. The oud just comes in to give the fragrance additional depth and character. At least that's how I pick it up. This fragrance, again, is all about the cherry and that nuttiness that comes from the almond, and just a very ambery fragrance. Now, curiously enough, there is a touch of a lactonic, faint lactonic presence in this fragrance, because to my nose, and I'm going to spray the fragrance, guys. But this fragrance, guys, is just absolutely glorious. I have to tell you. So let's talk about cherry fragrances, right? So this is a cherry that, at least to my nose, is very reminiscent of Bodacia the Victorious Bodacious. That cherry is very similar in the way that the cherry has been done in the fragrance. These are not the same fragrance, but the way that the cherry has been done to my nose is quite similar. Now, if you're asking me, well, what other cherries does this one compare to? You said that it's sweet and that the cherry is very dominant. Is it like any of the Tom Ford fragrances? Well, I own Electric Cherry, Lost Cherry, and Cherry Smoke, and I can tell you that definitely not like Electric Cherry, definitely not the cherry of Lost Cherry, but there is a tad of a similarity in the level of darkness that you find in Cherry Smoke, because Cherry Smoke is quite smoky to my nose, which I absolutely love, and it gives the cherry like a kind, not a burnt kind of feel, but it gives the cherry like a dark aura. Now this one is definitely a dark cherry, but the cherry here, it's almost like it doesn't need the assistance of any other note to be a dominant, strong, bold cherry presence, because the cherry here is no joke, guys. I sprayed myself and I am smelling cherry. I will be smelling cherry all day, which we're going to talk about performance. But yeah, this really to me, and the more I sniff it, the more I pick up on it, the cherry to my nose has been done almost exactly the same way that it was done in Bodacious. So if you've tried that Bodacious fragrance and you enjoy that kind of cherry DNA, then you are absolutely going to love this one. But this fragrance, this Rouge Smoking Extrait, is not, guys, at all to my nose like the original. So would this one be redundant in your collection? No, but you do need to enjoy a good cherry fragrance, because that's what this fragrance is really about. So now let's talk about performance, because guys, this one is bordering on beast on my skin. This fragrance will give me easy 10 hours without having to overspray. This is a fragrance that on skin, it just lasts forever. The projection is so strong during the first 2+ hours, and then it becomes a scent bubble, and I'm not even sure that it even makes it to a skin scent. Maybe if I were to wear it for 12 hours, it would be a skin scent at some point, but for me, it's a scent bubble. This is a very strong sillage. It is going to get you not just compliments, but it's going to get you attention. It's the type of fragrance that will bring on discussions around you, conversations. It is just a very interesting fragrance. The other thing is that a little bit goes a long way, guys. So this is the extrait, and I think that they meant it. Much like in Passoir, the extrait, which I find to perform night and day compared to the original, and I own them both. And much like the Gris Charnel extrait, this one has got to be even more potent than those other extraits. So when you use it, just be careful with how much you spray, because there's no need to overspray this fragrance. You know, I have learned with BDK that if it's an extrait fragrance, you may want to try just spraying a couple of sprays the first time you use it, see how that goes, and then, you know, increase it if you think you need to. So I was very cautious, and I have to tell you, just spraying it on my wrists, just like I just sprayed now, that's enough, because right now I have Rouge Smoking Extrait all over this room, and I promise you it will be here for quite a number of hours. To me, this is not a fragrance that is appropriate for all occasions. This to me is like a late afternoon, early evening into late night type of fragrance. This fragrance also is inherently sexy. Just like I find Bodacious to be a sexy fragrance, this one is also a sexy fragrance. So this is not like Rouge Smoking, which, while I think it's best used in special occasions, I will pull it off, you know, in the morning and at any time of the day. This fragrance, I think that if you spray it in the morning, it's going to feel on you and smell on you like a bit out of place. All in all, guys, I am so happy with this fragrance, and I am also very happy that they did it the way that they did, and that there's these differences with the original Rouge Smoking. Is this a safe blind buy? I would say that if you are into the BDK DNA, so if you want to be safe, you may want to get yourself a sample or a decant, but all in all, I think this is a safe blind buy, especially if you are a BDK and Rouge Smoking lover. Again, I want to caution and let you know that to my nose, this is not the same as the original Rouge Smoking. So if you're just looking for a more potent, better performing version of the original Rouge Smoking, this is not the fragrance, because this is in a class of its own. Needless to say, guys, I highly recommend this fragrance, and I am loving it. All right, guys, so we've reached the end of today's video, and I hope that you enjoyed listening about these incredible gems. These were all blind buys for me, and this has got to be one of the most successful blind buy hauls that I've done in quite a while, because every fragrance really has earned its spot in my fragrance collection. I mean, there is just such a beautiful collection of new scent profiles. I am really enjoying the entire Creed change in DNA. I really enjoyed that Dries Van Noten fragrance. Guys, it's truly, the hype is real. That fragrance is exquisite. Oh my gosh. And then the Shalimar Millesime Jasmin. I never expected to love it that much, even though I do like the note of jasmine. I really enjoy it in so many fragrances. But I have to tell you, that flanker is really on point. But anyway, guys, thank you so much as always for hanging with me today, and I will see you all in the next video.